Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Ouija Wednesday. I'm Sapphire Sandalo, and welcome to my Twitch. Ouija Wednesday is a weekly show that I do every Wednesday night. I bring on a different friend, and we talk about different spooky stuff. And sometimes it's about simulation theory. Sometimes it's about ghosts. Sometimes it's something totally different. But it's just whatever the hell we want. Anyways, why did you leave Snarled? I made a video about that on my YouTube channel, so go watch that. Anyways, tonight's a very special night. I'm very excited for my guest tonight because I've known her for 10 years, a full decade. We used to dance together and we always loved spooky movies and talking about paranormal stuff. And she's got a lot of wild paranormal stories from her family, and I'm very excited for you all to hear it. She's a film producer. She's a singer. She's my best friend. I hate myself. This is the worst intro ever. Please put your tiny hands together for Tessa Byford. Tessa, how are you? Tell the fine folks a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, hello everyone. So Saf and I have been friends. We're best friends, dancing through life. I think it's really funny because I think like calling each other best friends like always makes us laugh, and I don't know why, because it's like not funny. It's very serious.
It's not.
It's very serious.
Because like I feel like the phrase itself just feels kind of corny.
Yeah, so I went through a phase where like I would refuse to call anybody my best friend because I was like, that's like, I'm an adult, like I'm an adult. Like I don't have best friends. Like I have really good friends. You know what I mean? So I went through this.
I know what you mean.
Because I think this whole like you're my bestest friends, there's a lot of pressure on that, and then also. Yeah. Why can't I have other best friends? Like, why can't I have other really close relationships with other women or, whatever. So I went through that phase. But with that being said, Saf, you're my best friend. So no, Saf and I are the worst. I'm going to say it seriously. Saf and I are best friends.
Oh, damn it. No, I laughed. Sorry.
Saf and I are best friends. We did it.
Oh, okay, it's official now. I'm glad we got that out of the way.
I know, yeah. But no, about myself. Yeah. I'm a producer. I'm a Latina producer. For those who can't tell, I don't know.
What are you?
What are you? Well, I'm a Peruvian American producer, or whatever that means. Peruvian American. I don't know what that means anyway. But yeah, so I'm a film producer. I'm working on a few things right now. I'm working on a feature film. I'm working on a panel we're putting together for October 30th. I think that there might be a link somewhere. Yeah, it's not going to be a spooky panel, but I think not having Latinos in television is kind of spooky. So maybe that will be the spookiness. But we're going to talk about representation. We're going to talk about how to solve the lack of Latinx representation in TV. We have really great hosts or panelists. We have Carla Hool, who's a casting director. She casted Coco, which we all love. Or she cast Coco, and then she cast Narcos, and then we have Alejandro Rojas, who is from Parrot Analytics. And if you don't know who Parrot Analytics is, they're basically people who collect data on all of our brains, and they understand why we're watching things and what we're watching. Report back to the major studios and tell them what we're doing. So I think that's really important, because he has collected data saying that it is totally inappropriate, and that the Latinx community is so underrepresented because we do watch so many shows and we do buy so many tickets, and he has the most. So people like that are on the panel, and so it will be super cool. October 30th, 2 p.m. PST. And then what else am I working on? I think that was it. It's a lot though.
That is a lot.
And that's why we need White Claw. But yeah. So that's me. Is that the most embarrassing intro, Saf, of all shows?
No, not the worst one. Not the worst one I've had. Just kidding. There was no worse one. Anyone who's watching this who's been on the show before. So one of the things that we bond over is spooky stories. And you have told me over the years some of like the wildest things. And I actually used one of them on something scary. I don't know if anyone watching right now would remember this, but the episode about time slips. So that was the one about your mom and your aunt who went to Myrtle Beach.
Yeah,
right?
my grandma and my aunt. So they're
grandma
sisters.
and your aunt. Sorry. Do you want to retell the story? Because maybe I got some shit wrong.
No, I think actually, I remember my mom messaged you on Facebook about that, right? Like she really wanted to be helpful with that story because
your mom.
Yeah. So yeah, like my family is it's really interesting because my mom is not so much tied to this type of thought. Like she has definitely experienced stuff, but she doesn't talk about it the way that my grandma or my aunts have talked about it. But she does like retelling these stories that, you know, her mom experiences. So I thought it was really cool because we haven't talked about it in a really long time. And then when you asked for the story, my mom sort of did jump in and message about it. And I was like, oh, like this is like old times, like where she like tells stories. It was really nice because I know that we haven't talked about it in a long time. But yeah, so, well, my grandma and my aunt considered themselves, well, my grandma passed away, but my aunt is still alive, but they consider themselves Wiccans. And they experienced so much, and they would tell me as a young girl that they would be able to predict things, they would be able to think things and make them become reality. My mom would tell me stories about how my grandma, her mom, would make a guy call her whenever my mom wanted the guy to call her. Like there's like crazy stuff that, you know, my grandma would always like retell, and she thought it was hilarious. But yeah, so the Myrtle Beach story, they told me, so every year it's sort of a Byford tradition to go to Myrtle Beach once a summer. And this time, way before we were ever born, my aunt and my grandma went on a vacation by themselves. They got into a car and they just drove to Myrtle Beach. Grew up in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. My mom's side of the family is all from Pennsylvania. Sorry, the White Claw. Sorry. I'm doing the spookiness through burping. But yeah.
Okay, they're spooky burps.
Spooky burps. But yeah, so they got in a car, they went to Myrtle Beach. I'm from Pittsburgh, so it's about a 12-hour drive. And it's a drive that we do all the time. Like we know that route. And my grandma, it's a big tradition for all the Byfords to go to Myrtle Beach. So they said that when they were driving, they saw this diner and this gas station on the side of the road. And they just went. They're like, what? This is crazy. Like, we've never seen this, but we're going to go. And so they fill up their gas tank, they eat in the diner, and my grandma said that everything was like old and like in the 20s or like way before her time. Like it just was old and it didn't really make sense why they were there. And, so they have a good time, they eat, they get back in their car, they're on their merry way. So they have their vacation in Myrtle Beach, and then when they're coming back, they're like, oh, like we need to go the same route. We need to go to that really nice diner that we went to on the way back. So they go, and as they're approaching the place where the diner is, it's completely shut down, like doesn't really exist. It's run down. It's been deserted clearly for years. And they end up going to like another place or whatever. They're like shocked. They're like, this is really weird. Like, I guess maybe they got shut down in the amount of time that we were on vacation. Who even knows? But they ended up like getting gas or something somewhere else. And they're like, hey, like what happened to that diner down there? Like, what happened? Like, that really sucks. We just ate in it and everyone was so nice and the food was good, like blah, blah, blah. And the guy's like, what are you talking about? And they're like, yeah, the diner. And he's like, that diner's been closed for like years and
There
years.
hasn't been a diner here for 30 years.
Yeah. And they swear, like when my grandma was alive, she would swear that she was in a parallel universe. She says it. And I'm sure my aunt. So that's the other thing is like, I have to be careful when I talk about these things because they are very sensitive to my family. And I remember that, and I don't know if anyone from my family is going to tune in to this, but I really hope that I don't offend them. I know. Hi, Mom. Sorry. But like,
hi, Pam.
It is okay. Her name is Pat.
Damn it.
Pam from The Office.
That's sorry.
Her name is Pam.
Hi,
Whatever. But no, it is. I think it is sensitive, and I know that we reached out to my aunt about something, or you asked me.
Never responded, right? Or I forget.
So I don't know if it's just because of her age and she like doesn't know it, but it says on Facebook that she read all of my messages. She even read the messages when I followed up. And she wouldn't, and she just didn't respond. So I don't know if it's just because she doesn't know Facebook messaging or if she.
Did you ask your mom about?
Yeah, I told my mom, I was like, Mom, I like messaged my like Aunt Kath like about the story or whatever. I was like, my friend, like she does like podcasts, like she would love to talk to her, blah, blah, blah. And my mom was like, I don't know. So I think it is. I don't know, if people don't want to believe me, I think my biggest thing when I tell these stories is like, my mom is not in this world. Like my mom is very disconnected. My mom is like, I don't want to believe it. I have experienced things, but I don't want to. And I think it sort of legitimizes the stories a little bit because like it is sensitive. Like it's not something that my family's like really excited to talk about. It's just, there's definitely some underlying, like if we talk about it too much, more stuff will happen. Or if we talk about it, people will think we're crazy, or if we, but there's definitely like been family dinners and stuff where this like comes up and people are just like, why us? Or like, why, like, it's so crazy. Like, stop telling that story because this makes us sound crazy. Like, yeah, stuff like that. Yeah.
Oh,
so it is a little sensitive. No, but for me, I love it. I'm always the person, I'm like, tell me more. And
right. And I feel, okay.
it.
I mean, part of why I share these stories is to normalize things, because I feel like the reason why people don't share it is because of that idea of people are going to look at us and think we're insane. But like, hello, when you talk to anybody, they have a fucking story. And so it's like, you wouldn't feel so crazy if you know that everyone has experienced the same thing. And that's like sort of what I'm trying to do, is be like, yo, like, this is cool to talk about. It's fine. And like actually, maybe I won't talk about that. But yeah, I had been in touch with your mom about the story about the house. And I remember, I think I want to follow up with her because I think at the time I was looking for more of like a concrete ghost story, but now I'm kind of like, I just want to hear about what happened in the house. Like,
yeah. So like where my great aunt or my great grandma's house is in the book of like the most haunted houses in either Pennsylvania or somewhere on like the East Coast. Like it's in one of these books, and it will go through some stories that my family has experienced.
like,
and yeah, some of them aren't so pleasant. It's so crazy. See, the thing is like, I guess like I'm not as sensitive to it because I haven't experienced it. So I understand why my family is sensitive to it, because it has to be very hard. But I'm just like, I'm the person at the like family table at like Thanksgiving that's like, tell me more. Like, I want to know more. Like, but yeah. So one of the stories that I read in the book, and my grandma also confirmed with me that is true, and my mom has actually confirmed with me that's true too, was that in the house, like my great great grandma was living there, and then my great great grandpa was living there, and my great grandma was really sick, and it was a 2-story house or 3-story house, and he was upstairs in the bedroom, and he was really ill, and he was like taking medicine, and he was just like, I wouldn't say on his deathbed, but very, very ill and probably close to it. And then my grandma was taking care of him, and she like was downstairs on the first floor. And I guess what happened was he started just like screaming for help. And since he was ill, my great grandma thought he was like dying, and she needed to run upstairs and get to him and help him, give him medicine, whatever he needed. And in the book, it says that the lady experienced a force on the stairs that would not let her get to the top of the stairs to him. And it describes her running up the stairs and then being stopped. And she had to fight through it. And she had to, another thing that my family always brings up is like, if something bad does happen, just say like, Jesus Christ is here with us. Like Jesus is here, Jesus is here. So she was saying that, and she was like praying to God. My family is a very Catholic family on that side. And she was just like praying to God to get through to him. And eventually she fought her way through this like force at the top of the steps, and she got to him. But yeah.
What do they think was the force that was stopping her?
My side of the family believes that anything that bad that happened it is something like the devil. That's why saying Jesus Christ is here with me is so important to that side, is because they believe that when it's a negative thing, it's the devil.
Right.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. And also, so I saw that Toby commented on your thing about the crucifix slapped on the table. And that's another thing that the side of the family very much believes in, is like, if there's a crucifix there, then it will be safer. So my aunt, I have a feeling that if anybody were to watch this, it would be my cousin Erin.
Hi, Erin.
I feel like if anybody was to see this, she would be like, ooh, Tessa's talking about spooky stuff about her family. I need to hear it in. Because she's also the one who, she's like next to me. She's the one who likes to share it too. And I think it's also for the same reason, is that I don't think she's ever experienced it. So I think we're both very intrigued. But she loves telling the story at the dinner table about how she sells houses. And she's a realtor, and the house that we all talk about, it has a big turnover rate for owners. And so my cousin is very intrigued by it. She thinks that it's because so much stuff happens there that people move out. And so she says that every once in a while she likes to go to that area, and she likes to check in on the owners and like see who the new owners are, because it's always new owners.
Right.
And she said, this was years ago. This was like maybe like over probably like 8 years ago, maybe 7 years ago. But so the time that she went to the house had to even be even longer ago. But she said she went to the house and nobody was there, and there was a for sale sign. And she said she like went into the house, and she said, I swear to God, there was a huge crucifix slapped down onto the dining table, and there was like nothing else there. And she's like, there's bad stuff in there. She was like, I know why it was on the table. I know why. She was like, there's bad stuff in that house.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh, I got chills.
I mean, you can't just be throwing crosses around, you know? Like you just, it means something. It means something.
Here's the thing. Wait, I always, you weren't raised Catholic though, right? You were raised like Protestant or something?
Yeah, so I was raised Lutheran, and like
Lutheran.
Yeah, and my dad and my mom were both raised Catholic, but they're
So why are you Lutheran?
I think because of their experience. I think because, well, one, I mean, we can get into a big religion conversation now, but like,
Do
I
it.
think that my dad like went full on like Catholic school and went to a, what is that school called when you get sent away and like you're basically called boarding school?
Boarding school.
Because he's from England, and so like boarding school is like very normal. So he went to boarding school, and he had like nuns be his teachers and like all this stuff. And then my mom's Irish, and so she was like very Irish, Catholic Irish. But I think like when their life experiences, my dad is technically an atheist because of his experiences, and my mom basically became Lutheran because of her experiences of just like the Catholic Church just not really agreeing with their lifestyle, not agreeing with what they believed, and just being too strict, I guess. Like my mom loves to tell people that like Lutherans are like the hippie Catholics.
I can see that. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, it's like the ones that are like cool with everything. Like we're like, we love God, but like we're totally cool with everything else.
Right.
So like she likes to say that like we're the hippie Catholics, but like, yeah, but like she was very much raised like Irish Catholic, and all this crucifix stuff like very much makes sense to be a part of the story. Yeah.
Because it's what's so interesting to me, I guess like I have heard a lot of people, and one of our former roommates, I won't say her name, remember when I had posted something about playing with a Ouija board and then she messaged me? Yeah. So we had an old roommate, Filipino Catholic girl. I had posted a photo of a fate. It was spelled Weeji. So it was just like very knockoff, very like funny. So I posted a photo of that board because me and my friend Kevin were going to go mess around with it. And she messaged me privately and was like, "Hey, Sapphire, I just want you to know, if you are going to be messing with that, like just make sure that you're safe or like whatever." She's like, "Because stuff happened to my family when I was messing around with it." And I was like, "Oh, wow. Like what kinds of things happen?" And she said it was too private to share. And like, sure. But like, she did say something that really stuck with me. She said, if anything happened, use the word Jesus to protect you, because when stuff was happening to my family, the only thing that seemed to work was saying Jesus, which I find so interesting because there's so much about Catholicism that has been used as a weapon over time. Like so it's weird to me that like Catholic imagery would be the thing that protects people, because to me, Catholicism is just like over the years has become so much of a man-made religion and so far from like what it was meant to be, if that makes any sense.
Right.
So I find that, I don't know, like I have a hard time processing that, because you also said, say Jesus, whatever. So it's just like, why is it that the Catholic symbology and the Catholic verbiage, whatever, is the thing that works, when in my head, I'm like, the Catholic thing is all fabricated. I don't know. I don't have an answer.
I don't. Yeah. I mean, I grew up believing, well, being told that I should believe in a higher being because that's like what makes you happy. Like I've been told that like statistically, if you do not believe in something, you actually get depression more often. And that's like what was sold to me. They're like, if you like believe in something, then that means you will like fool yourself into being happier. Like, I don't know. I guess I'm explaining that poorly, but 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 those are people who told me that, who never experienced anything. Sorry, I keep burping. Like I need to stop drinking this White Claw. But for my grandma and my aunt and like my cousin and all these people, it was really explained to me that if you believe in good, then there needs to be a bad. And like, if there's something bad happening, then you need to say the good and like believe in the good. So I don't know, like that's just how it was explained to me why Jesus was brought up, was because if something paranormal is happening, then it must be in the same realm as religion. You know, like, because you can't see religion, you can't feel religion, but like, why am I experiencing something that nobody else sees or feels? So it must be paranormal, and paranormal must be somehow attached to religion, because they're just they're like almost the same thing. Like, you just don't see them, you don't feel them. Like I think that's how they connected it.
Yeah.
I don't know if I believe that, because I mean, I have my own religious beliefs and my own opinions on everything, but I can tell why they made that connection. I can see, like, if you can't see it, you can't feel it, then it must be like religion. You know, am I making sense?
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah. So I can see where they got it from. Do I believe it? I honestly, like, when I feel creeped out, I still say it. I still think it, because I was just told to. Whether I think that it's working or not, I don't know. But I still remember my grandma saying, and I will always remember my mom too. When I was younger and my grandma passed away, and I really wanted to go through my grandma's stuff, and I wanted to find all her like tarot cards, and I like want to find all this stuff. My mom, she let me have this one box, and I like kept it I probably still have it. And that was the only thing she let me. And she let me take her tarot cards too. And that was like literally the only things. And she was like, she was like, don't go too far down this rabbit hole. She was like, you can have the box, you can have the cards, like that's like whatever, like your grandma probably would want you to have it. But like, don't go too down that rabbit hole, because that portal can let good in, but it can also let bad in. So like, my mom very much believes she knows that it's real, and she believes in it enough to try to protect me and try to give some advice to me. So
interesting.
Yeah.
You know, I go back and forth on whether or not, I love this became a religion podcast, but I'm fine with that. I go back and forth on how I feel about the inherent nature of energy, because there's one friend I talk to a lot about this stuff, and she says, I think that all energy is neutral, and energy it's all like about interpretation. There isn't necessarily bad spirits or good spirits. Everything is just neutral. But then there's also this other argument of like, well, there's like nefarious things, and then to balance that out, there's like good things. And obviously the one that brings me comfort is just seeing everything as neutral, because I don't want to be walking around my house alone. I'm alone right now. I don't want to think that there are like bad spirits that like exist, but I don't know. I just like, I feel like I hear conflicting stories on whether or not like actual evil exists, or if everything is just neutral, because I do believe that people do throw around the term demon or the devil a lot.
If it's bad to them in their perspective. Yeah. I've never, so also the other thing is I've experienced very little paranormal activity in my life. And I think it's the same with you too. Like, it's so weird, because like when you're so into it, it's just like, why isn't it happening to us? Like, I'm literally welcoming it.
Am I too eager?
I know. We're like not playing hard.
Am I too thirsty?
Yeah. We're not playing hard to get. Like, we just like are too thirsty for the paranormal.
Okay, I don't want it. I don't want anything happening.
But I have felt, so I can feel things. I can feel when a house is bad. Like, I was on a film set in Peoria, Illinois, and I was talking to the production designer or somebody on the production team or the production designing team. And we were talking about it. And I asked her, I said, like, we were working in this like haunted house, like a really old house that was like abandoned. And my first question to them, because they were spending a lot of time in the house, like designing it and stuff, I was like, is it haunted?
Right.
I was like, I want to like go and see like if it's haunted. And she said, I actually don't feel, she was like, I just don't feel anything when I'm there. And I was like, oh, I totally get what you're saying. So one night when we wrapped and stuff, there was something that I needed to get in the house, and there was like nobody in there. It was like 11 p.m. at night. And I was like, ooh, I'm going to go in the house and I'm going to see if I feel anything. Cause like, I want to know for sure. Cause I can feel stuff. So I go in the house and I feel nothing.
Okay.
I feel totally safe. It's 11 p.m. Nobody else is there. It's like old crickety and I feel nothing. And I'm like, okay, so this house is just old and abandoned. I was like, that's just what it is. So, but then there's another story where I'm in Peru and my boyfriend and I are driving through the mountains from one city to another city. And we see this church and it has a bunch of candles. And it's like so many candles and it's like freezing cold in Peru in the mountains. And when you walk into the church, it's like hot, you're like sweating. And there's like tons of candles and it's just, it's not a tourist attraction, but it's just like something that like weird that they do. So we saw it, I think I saw it on Google Maps that it was going to come up. And I was like, ooh, I want to go there because I want to like see if I feel something.
Yeah.
We literally are in the area, I would say like 100 feet away from where we're supposed to like pull over and park. And I immediately feel everything. I feel like there's something bad. And I tell him immediately, and of course he thinks I'm crazy. And I'm like something, and I told him, I looked to him and I said, something bad happened here. I was like, something really bad happened here. I was like, I feel it. And he was like, no, you're crazy. Like, let's just go see it, blah, 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 blah. We got out of the car and I'm like, no, something really, I was like, nope. I was like, something really bad happened here. I was like, I do not want to go into that church. I don't care if it's like a touristy attraction. I don't care. And he was like, no, let's go see it. Let's go see it. Literally nobody's there. There was like maybe like a stand with a guy like selling food or something.
Okay.
Because like, I don't know, Peru. So, and it's late at night. It's probably like 11 p.m. too. And we go in there and there's just this energy. There's like a wall of like energy surrounding me and it makes me feel like I'm like suffocating. And I was like, something bad happened here. And I was like, there's bad energy here. And we're looking around at the candles and there's like photos of people and we don't really know why. There's just a bunch of photos, bunch of candles. I'm like, we need to go. And I'm like, I don't care. I was like, let's take a photo, whatever you want to do, but we need to go because there's really bad energy here. So we like rush back to the car. He gets in. He's like, you're crazy. I didn't feel anything. And I'm like, you think I'm crazy? Of course you don't feel anything. So then once I get cell service and I can Google like this area and I like see why this church exists, like what happened.
Yeah.
So basically what happened there was 3 little boys were decapitated. Yeah.
Why?
It was some type of war or something, and there was something about like one side and another side like met at this place or whatever, and then like the one side took the 3 kids and they basically, whacked them off or like took their heads. Yeah. So
was the church there before that happened?
No, so they made it as like a memorial.
Okay.
Yeah. So I feel when there's something bad and I trust it. I really do. Like I will not stay somewhere if I feel like there's something there. And I'm also the other way when I don't feel something. When I don't feel something, I'm like, this is totally fine. I'm totally fine to stay here at night late by myself. I'm just not somebody who tries to make a big deal out of everything. I'm not like and I think that's why I told the story, because like when you're talking about religion, like sometimes I feel like people want to like make things into something, and they're like evil and like the devil and blah, 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 blah. Like, I'm not like really like that. Like, I just know when something feels a certain way, and I don't really blame it on the devil. I don't really blame it. I
It just is.
it just is. Yeah. And I don't know what it is, but I just feel it. And usually I'm spot on. So
You're
yeah.
an empath.
Yeah.
That's why you could feel my hand immediately when we did the thing.
So weird. Yeah. Yeah.
No, it's true.
I never
That's
knew
a real
that.
thing.
That's new information for me. So that's crazy.
You know, it's so funny. I feel like we're both both of our partners are very male in the sense that like they rely on logic, there's a reason why most psychics and mediums and witches are women. It's because women just by our very nature are more in tuned with that kind of stuff than men. It's not that men can't, it's just also part of it is societal too, because women are allowed to be a little bit more emotional. And I think that should change. Men should be emotional too. But like, you know what I mean? Like, I think there's a reason why it's mostly women, and it's how we function. Like women, dude, like even the fact that our periods happen once every full moon, it's like our periods are synced up with the moon cycles. We're literally like part of the universe in that way. So we're just more like synced up with this shit.
Yeah.
Also, like when not me, but like when women give birth and they have that connection with their child, and like the mother's intuition, like that's a fucking thing. Women are just built more. It's more easy for us to connect with that. And I just think it's funny that we're both with like men who do not believe in that.
Yeah. No, I get told I'm crazy all the time. So yeah, he thinks I'm crazy because this like whole faucet thing has been following me for years. I told you
what is this faucet thing?
So when I first moved to California, well, I mean, I've had weird stuff happen, and he tries to explain it all the time. So like I have weird things like I was at my parents' place, like everybody went out and I was like staying at home, and I was like in my parents' room watching TV, and then all of a sudden a dog started barking. And it's very unlike my dogs that I grew up with to bark. We're in a neighborhood, like we're in a neighborhood where like people are far away from us. Like there's no traffic, there's like nothing. Like it's really silent near my house. So there's no dogs barking. Also, like they're not barkers. So they started barking, and I've never really seen them like that at all. And I go downstairs, and I'm in the house by myself, and I go downstairs, and the door to my sunroom is wide open, and it's never open. Like it's supposed to keep the dogs from going in the sunroom, so we always close it. It's wide open, and the dogs are staring right at the open door. Just barking, like straight up standing there and barking. And I had this feeling come over my body, and I was like, this is bad. I'm going upstairs. I literally went upstairs, locked my parents' bedroom door. I just like put my head over under the covers, and I stayed there until they got home. And the dogs barked the whole entire time. They barked were barking the whole entire time. Yeah.
What do you think it was? You don't know. Wait, what does that have to do with faucet?
Oh, and then the faucet thing. So then I left Pittsburgh. I go to college, and I don't know why the faucet turns on sometimes, and it just runs water in every apartment that I've lived in.
Even the one that we lived in together?
No. Yeah, well, we weren't really there, so I don't know if I ever had time to tell you.
I literally like never was there.
Yeah, yeah.
Wait,
It was
was it
like
our
me.
shared bathroom or like the kitchen bathroom?
No, it was a shared bathroom. Hmm.
That is
Yeah,
so. Oh my God.
yeah.
Actually,
So,
okay, go on.
no,
Wait,
no,
even
no.
at the place you're at now.
At the place. So here's the thing: is hasn't happened at the place that I. It hasn't happened since I went to New York. So when I went to New York,
Mm.
it didn't happen, but every single place before that. So I think that is something that I let go of. It's something that like I left behind or like I came to a conclusion on or like I put peace to something.
Yeah.
And then when I went to New York, it just hasn't been there. So so I have an ex-boyfriend who I told this to too, because I tell everybody. But I
Do I
have
know this ex-boyfriend?
yes, yes.
Okay.
So it's the one that I had for the longest probably years.
Mm,
We won't say his name because
no.
nobody liked him. But
Okay.
anyways, it's not an ex-boyfriend conversation. But so I told him this, and he also thought I was crazy. He's like, "You're crazy," blah
Or
blah blah blah. Blah. And I'm like, "No," I'm like, "The faucet turns on sometimes," and I was like, "In every apartment, it's totally cool. I think it's my grandma. Like, it's not a big deal."
grandma.
So yeah, and I guess maybe like I never felt bad vibes from it. I just was like, "Oh, the faucet's on again. Gotta go
Yeah.
shut it off." So he didn't believe me. And then I, for some reason, had to be out of the place that we lived. And I don't know why. I was like gone for a few days or nights or whatever. And he was at the place by himself long enough. And I came back and he was like, "You're right." He
Stop
admitted it.
it. So
Yeah,
what happened even when you weren't there?
he was
That's
like,
what's weird.
he's like, he's like, "You're totally right." He's like, "It wasn't a drip. It wasn't like a drop. It was like full on the like handle turned." And he's like, "I believe you now." And he told me that. It was kind of nice to hear. He was like, "I believe you now." Because it happened to him. Yeah. 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 It's creepy. I don't know why. I don't know why it happened for so long, but
I
it did.
genuinely didn't know this, dude.
So that's what Toby made the comment on your Instagram.
Oh,
Running
that's the reason.
faucets because he
Okay.
thinks I'm crazy, but it's only because it hasn't happened with him as my boyfriend. But I'll bring my grandma back, Toby. I'll bring her back. She'll turn on all the faucets.
You know, their water is thought to attract spirits, and that's why some people believe like that's the reason why showers will turn on or faucets will turn on. Man, I hope it happens with Toby so he can shut the fuck up.
So his reasoning is that I've always lived in old apartment, old crappy apartment.
The apartment we lived in was not that old.
It wasn't old, but it was kind of crappy.
No, but remember when we smelled
like
the
shit.
manure and we
Yeah,
were
it
like,
smelled
oh,
like
we can get free rent because of this.
shit. We legitimately worked very hard to try to get free rent.
We thought we were
We literally were like
gonna
spending money.
stupid.
Like we don't have to spend it on rent anymore. But every month we pay rent.
So stupid.
Oh my god.
But like even in an old apartment, it's not like anything could physically just make the faucets turn.
Right. So he did look it up because it's Toby and
Of course he did.
he has the time to look all this stuff up.
I
But
know. Like relax with your Google, Toby.
it's amazing what white men have time to do. But he looked it up and he said that there's like some pressure or something that happens to old pipes or pipes that aren't being taken care of, and sometimes the pressure can build up and then like make the faucet like go on or whatever. But I was like, the full turn though, like the full turn,
It's
like
never happened to me. Here's the thing. Here's the thing. If that, like, sure, let's say that sinks do that sometimes. Why doesn't it happen to literally everyone?
everyone, yeah, yeah.
It's
Well,
never happened to me.
He found like a Reddit thread of it happening to him.
Oh yeah, let's believe Reddit. Let's fucking believe Reddit, the website anyone can post anything on. My God.
Yeah, yeah. What is it he says? He says he hates anecdotes or whatever.
What? Wait, what?
And then but then he like gives them back to us. Remember the last time that we all hung out, social distance? Remember?
Gotta throw that out there.
Gotta throw it out there. Remember he was like, "Oh, that's so anecdotal. Like it's only like experience." Like
Okay, see, okay, this is another example of the difference between male energy and feminine energy, because for females, for feminine energy, it's like you trust that the stories that you gather from real people is enough evidence. And to me, like, I mean, like, you know, I'm a paranormal expert, but that's only because I talk to so many people. Like, I don't really, like, everything I know is just from what people tell me. And then there's people like my sister's fiance who is always like, well, like, how do you know if they're credible sources? I'm like, that's not up to me. Like, I wasn't there when it happened. I'm more interested in, like, how did that event change you? You know, what was real about it to you? Because that to me is the most interesting part of like paranormal shit. But like for him to not think that anecdotal evidence is worthy evidence, like that's so, like, what a tiny, like, how do you think people do anything? Like, I don't know. Like, there's one thing, like, not everything can be science. I hope he's watching. Toby.
He's in Austria right now, so he's sleeping. He's narcissistic enough to see if we talked about him. So, hi, Toby.
Hi, Toby. You're such a man.
It's such a man.
There's nothing wrong with it. I'm just saying, you know, sometimes you can pull back. Oh my God.
I mean, and I think that's like why I've come to terms with that. I have to like validate like my mom's normalness and like my normalness, because I definitely feel when I tell stories, they're like, oh, so you're from a crazy house. Yeah.
But it's not. See, the thing, like, that, at least, I mean, for Filipinos, it's literally the norm. Like like there's the handful of like skeptics, like whatever, but like everyone kind of is on board with all of these stories. Like, even if you don't believe it, it's kind of like, yeah, we want to like hear it.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Man.
I love how this is, I knew this would happen, that we would somehow start talking about the patriarchy. Because this is how all conversations end with us now.
I know. We talk about being brown, we talk about religion, and we talk about, you know, all the good stuff. It's good that we have these conversations though. So it's also very interesting to be friends for 10 years. Like it is like, shut up. It is interesting because I think like what's really cool about being friends with somebody for so long is that you see the evolution of them and you also see the evolution of your friendship. So like, and it's also extra cool for us because in my other longer friendships that have lasted over 10 years too, like my evolution of them is that like they have kids and like they're experiencing like a new chapter of their lives. But like with us, like we don't have those like normal chapters, like so like it is really cool to see the evolution of our friendship and of really everything of like what we think, what we feel, because I know that like this would not be a conversation that we would have 10 years ago, you know, like we lived together, you know, in 2010 and we never talked about being brown. We never talked about being brown. Like we were just like Saph and Tessa.
Isn't that it?
That's what it was.
So true.
Like, that's all lives. And of course, like we were young and like, of course we were living in the Valley. Like, so like, it's a very diverse area and we were like on a dance team with like a bunch of Filipinos. Like we were like, maybe it was just because we're in a space where like
we never felt othered in it.
Yeah. And I mean, I feel like we felt othered in probably our own interpersonal lives,
right?
But not enough to talk about it the way that we talk about it now. So I think like just becoming more mature and like evolving into our careers and being in different spaces, like it's really real. I think we both sort of realize like it is super important to talk about this. It's like being alone and just thinking it is not enough. Like you have to talk about it. So yeah, so the conversations do go this way, but I think it's healthy. It's good. It is.
I know. Wow.
And talking about religion and stuff, it's important. It's important, people.
It really is. And I think it's a shame that people are too shy to talk about it because they don't want to ruffle any feathers or like whatever. But
yeah, and I mean, it's definitely good to not go against the grain just to go against the grain. Like, I think it's good to find people who you can have these like very nuanced conversations with, like, and have safe spaces where like you're sort of forgiven, or you're not even just forgiven, you're just allowed to speak and say things. And I think that's like why it's so cool to talk to you about paranormal stuff too, because like it's just like welcome. It's like, oh, like this is like not weird, you know?
yeah, like, tell me all of it.
It is what it is.
Exactly.
And like, yeah. So
I will say though, I mean, I don't know how this is about Toby, and it's like I know that my husband.
Oh my God, your husband.
My husband. I know he says that he doesn't believe in these things, but like when I tell him, like I'll always tell him stories that I find really fascinating because I'm like, I want to like turn him into a believer. But like the thing that I really love about him is that he never makes me feel like I'm in the wrong for believing what I believe. And I think that's really important just because like if he was like, wow, like he'll joke around, but at the end of the day, like I think it was for our anniversary last year, he like went to the House of Intuition and like bought me candles and like crystals and stuff. Like he doesn't know about any of that stuff, but he was like, oh, she'll like this, you know? And I'm like, cool, as long as you're cool with me being into this stuff, even if you're not, like that's fine. And I remember like, you know, my friend Alex, and she's been on this show. She's amazing. I remember talking to her, I don't know, it was like a couple of years ago. And I remember being like, man, sometimes I wish I had a partner who was at least a little into this stuff. And she was like, no, like it's good for you to have him because he grounds you. If you were both just like loosey-goosey floating around in the air with your thoughts, oh my God, no, someone needs to like pull you back to reality. It's a good like balance.
Yeah.
So I was like, yeah.
No,
so it's good.
You need your checks and balances for sure.
So it's good that Toby is the way he is, I guess.
Was that where we were getting to? Just reassurance in my relationship? No, you know what? He tries. Does he
really?
He tried to take me to a ghost town.
That's true, even though it failed.
But it wasn't a ghost town, and there were no hauntings. And like, I literally didn't feel anything. But he tried. He was like, yeah, it's a ghost town. I'm sure there's scary things there. I'm going to take Tessa there because I know she's going to love it. And then it ended up just being, I mean, I'm sure people who see this like know what Salton Sea is. So yeah, it's Salton Sea. It's not haunted. So it's not a ghost town. It's not a Western town at all. And then it's also like people still live there. So it's really
that's weird.
Yeah.
That's so weird to say it's a ghost town when people are still living there. Like, what are you saying about their lives? They don't matter?
Yeah. Every like fifth house is like lived in. So
oh my God.
You're just taking me to like
to see people's houses.
Yeah, a really sad place. I'm like, it's not haunted. But
wow.
Yeah. But he thinks about it. He's like, oh, this is an activity that Sissa would want to do. And he also knows that I love horror movies. I love seeking out horror movies. So like we will watch The Strangers and he knows to like turn off all the lights, like make sure that it's as scary as possible. Like he knows like, okay, we're going to like sit down and like, we're going to really try to be scared. Because that's a goal. That's a goal of mine. It's like try to be scared.
What's the last movie that genuinely scared you? Because honestly, because like I try to watch a scary movie every day, and I have been very disappointed.
I think we talked about this. I think it is the Hill on Haunted Way. How do you
Haunting of
spell
Hill
it?
House.
The Haunting of Hill House. So I had to say my top three are The Strangers, where the couple go when they like almost break up or whatever. They're stuck in the cabin together. That's like I love that one. If I ever really want to be scared and I'm like having a really like I want to be scared tonight, I like will watch it by myself. And I'll be like the weirdo. Yeah. I also have watched the Haunted Hill House by myself too. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I've like on purpose
That
to
one
make
was
sure.
really scary to me.
And that's the last one that I watched that was really scared. The first, if anyone's really looking for like to go back and like rewatch something or sorry, to go back and watch something that's older, it's the first season of American Horror Story.
That was a good season.
Yeah.
It was like genuinely spooky.
It was genuinely spooky, and none of the other seasons, they all just like sort of got weird. They were just like all about
They
being
were,
weird.
yeah, it was just like campy for the sake of being campy. And it's like, okay, Ryan Murphy, you
Yeah.
can calm down.
Uh-huh.
You have a lot of money, we get it.
Yeah. But the first
First
season was
season's
good.
good.
And I'm
Mm-hmm.
looking forward to this new series. The new
Ratchet.
no. Sorry. I'm not an American Horror Story. The new one, the Haunting or the
Bly
Haunting.
Manor?
Yeah, Bly Manor. Yeah.
I didn't like it as much, but that's just me.
Oh, that's a
But that's
bummer.
just me. That's just me.
Yeah.
I just feel like none of the characters were developed enough for me to care about what ended up happening to them. So like
Mm.
by the end I was like, oh, this would be sad if I cared about these characters. But that was just me.
No, I wanna watch it because I have faith in that brand, but I don't know. But it wasn't done by Blumhouse, was it?
No.
It was done by Netflix.
Both of
Yeah.
them are Netflix, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, really? I
Yeah.
thought the first one was Blumhouse.
Not that I know of.
Oh, okay.
Maybe, yeah,
Um,
everything is something else.
yeah. But no, then the other one, my go-tos are Sixth Sense and The Ring. Those are two
Sixth
classics.
Sense. I love the Sixth Sense.
I love The Sixth Sense. I shit
So
my pants when I
good.
watched it. I mean, there's nothing scarier than a little kid seeing dead people.
And he's so cute. He was such a good child actor, like 100% in everything he was in. And like
I
I think, well, the thing about The Sixth Sense is that I feel like that twist has now been overdone. Like this might be a spoiler, but it kind of shows up in Blind Manor a little
Oh,
bit.
really?
So it's kind of like it was just so original at the time that it came out. It's like, whoa, everyone's dead.
After The Sixth Sense happened, it was so hard for anything else to be scary about seeing dead people because The Sixth Sense just did it so well that like nobody can compete with it. But I know that most people will tell me that I'm wrong, but I love Straw Dogs because Straw Dogs is very real. So Straw Dogs is about a lady, if I'm remembering it right. I just know it's really
Which you always do.
Which I always do remember it right. Spoiler alert, I remembered nothing, right? But no. I am credible. No, the Straw Dogs is where a wife and her husband are forced to move back to her hometown, and Straw Dogs like means it's the people who like never leave their hometown. Like it's a term to like call those people, and so. She goes back to the house. She forces her husband to be there. He has to leave for a work trip or something, and she gets stuck in the house with all these weirdos.
Is it genuinely scary?
I loved it when I watched it. I watched it by myself on purpose again. I loved it because it wasn't it was sort of like The Strangers, where it wasn't about like paranormal stuff. It was like very much about something that could happen to me.
Grounded in reality.
Anybody. Yeah, it was like you do not want to be in a house by yourself. Like it was like that. It was like, don't
Ooh, okay.
ever let your boyfriend or husband leave you in a house by yourself, especially in one of these towns where like everybody is just like, you know, a good old boy and like just stuck in their hometown for the rest of their lives because
Yeah.
you will get murdered. Yeah. It was like one of those, it was one of
Okay.
those real
It's on my list. I keep a list whenever anyone mentions a movie that I need to see. And Straw Dogs, I forget why I put it there. Maybe it was like on a like best horror movies list or something, but let me make sure it's still there. Yeah, because I need something to watch tonight. Go
straw
watch
dog.
that. Okay, cool.
Wow, straw dogs. Yeah.
Also, okay, we'll wrap up in a bit. But
Okay.
if you hear a movie that you want to watch when you come over Saturday, let me know. Scary
Yeah.
movie night.
Oh,
Can't you tell we were dancers?
I'm so good. Actually, this is our time to TikTok. We'll make up a dance and TikTok. We're so
Anything we do
old.
will be better than anything. Oh my God.
Embarrassing.
Well,
Yeah.
Tessa, it's been a pleasure. It's been a joy. I know my food's gonna get here, so I'm like, let's wrap it up.
Yay.
What else? Where can people find you on the internet? Do you want people to find you on the internet?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I feel like your followers like always somehow get to my Instagram anyway. I don't know. Maybe it's because, oh, I guess you post about Bambi and stuff like that. Yeah.
I do post about Bambi a
That's
lot.
my dog, everyone.
Bambi's the best.
Bambi's my little sassy dog.
She's
But yeah,
so sassy.
Tessa Ann, 21. Eventually, I will make a horror movie. That is like,
Yay!
I was so close to working for Blumhouse on a show and I didn't get it. But one day I'm going to work for Jason and I'm going to make a fucking haunted, scary ass movie. Because that is definitely one of my goals. I think that is going to be so much fun to make something that I always look forward to. But yeah.
Can I be
cool.
in it?
Yes. It will just all be about brown girls getting slaughtered.
Yes! That's all I want to see in this world.
Brown girls getting slaughtered?
Fictionally!
Representation in all the genres. In all the genres.
Exactly.
All right.
Oh my goodness.
Thank you for having me.
Yay. Thank you for coming. Okay. Bye, everybody. Bye, Tessa.
Ciao.
Yes.
Bye.